Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to learn the lesson I will do it. This is a wonderful lesson written by Sudha Murthy, who is wife of Narayana Murthy, that really inspires every child. We have to learn how Narayana Murthy, as a boy of 16 years old, handled the adverse conditions without anger or jealousy, and how he overcame his difficult situations using his intellectual power. Later, he became a symbol of victory and role model for young talent. Then, why late? Let's begin the lesson. Look at the title, I will do it. Try to define it. Yeah, it defines that the willingness of doing something, and it shows that the readiness of facing the challenges in spite of adversities. Wow, what a title! I'll do it. Let's see the first para. He was short, he was sharp, he was the brightest boy in his class. His seniors used to ask him to solve their difficulties in science. He could have gone unnoticed in a crowd, but once you asked him a question related to physics or maths, there was a spark in his eyes. He could grasp theories of science faster than the speed of light. What first para says that? He was short but sharp, which means intelligent, and the brightest boy in his class. To prove that, his seniors ever asked him to solve their difficulties in science. What is the meaning of used to? Used to plus V1. Used to ask. Used to say that something happened continuously or frequently during a period in the past. Past longer actions or past habitual actions we can express through this expression and never be at present to those actions. As a short boy, it was difficult for us to notice him where he was in a crowd. To find him where he was, just simply asked a question related to physics or maths, and then we could see a spark in his eyes to solve the questions. This shows that how his intelligence was to grasp theories of science faster than speed of light, which means he had the ability of learning and theories of science very quickly. Let's move to the second paragraph. He came from poor but educated family. His father was a high school teacher and an avid reader of English literature. He, like all the boys in his class, was trying to get admission into some engineering college. The brighter ones wanted to study in the Indian Institute of Technology or the IITs. There was an entrance test for IIT. This boy, along with his friends, applied to appear for the test. They did not have any special books or coaching. All these IIT aspirants would sit below the shade of stone mandap, close to Chamundi Hills, in the sleepy town of Mysore. He was the guide for others, while the others struggled to solve the problems in the question paper. He would smile shyly and solve them in no time. He sat alone below the tree and dreamt of studying at IIT. It was the ultimate aim for any bright boy at that age, as it still is today. He was then only 16 years old. Let's see what second paragraph says that. His family was poor and educated. His father worked as a high school teacher and showing interest in English literature. What do you mean avid? Which means very enthusiastic about something. The synonym of avid is keen. Generally, toppers in the class are trying to become engineers, especially IIT engineers. Likewise, He and other boys in his class were trying to get admissions into some engineering college, and especially the toppers in his class wanted to study the Indian Institute of Technology or the IITs. Like nowadays, there was an entrance test for IIT. He and his friends applied to write for the test IIT. Today, we have many coaching centers for IIT entrance. During those days, they did not have any specific or special books or guidance or coaching. At that moment, he was only the guide for other boys, all these IIT aspirants. What do you mean IIT aspirants? Which means a person whose strong desire to win a competition. Now, all these IIT aspirants usually moved to Chamundi Hills and sat below the shade of stone mandap. Where are Chamundi Hills? Yes, in the sleepy town of Mysore. What do you mean sleepy? Which means, see the second meaning, which means quiet, calm, or peaceful, where nothing much happens. While the others struggled to solve the problems in the IIT question paper, as we know that he was the guide for others, he would smile shyly and solve the problems within no time. How would he solve in no time? What do you mean? Which means so quickly that it is surprising. He was solving all the problems very quickly. We know that he was a 16 years old boy. He had a dream of studying at IIT. For him, it was the ultimate aim to get into IIT. Likewise, nowadays also toppers are still trying to be IITians. Let's see the next paragraph. The D-Day came. He came to Bangalore, stayed with some relatives, and appeared for the entrance test. He did very well, but would only say okay when asked. It was opposite when it came to food. When he said okay, it implied bad. When he said good, it implied okay. When he said excellent, it implied good. His principle was never to hurt anyone. Let's see what the explanation of this para. Their preparations went on, and finally the entrance test day came. The D-Day came. What do you mean D-Day? Which means a date on which something important is expected to happen. For example, today is 16th January 2022 and you have a plan of going to Delhi on 20th January 2022. The days rolled on like 17th, 18th, 19th and 20th. And now you tell that 20th date comes as today's date for going to Delhi. And then you say the D-Day came. When the entrance test date came, he came to, means he went to Bangalore and stayed with some relatives. Actually, he wrote exam very well. If you asked him about exam, he would say okay. Usually, it was opposite when it came to food, imply, which means to suggest that he said okay about food, which means it was suggested that food was bad. And in the same way, he said good about food, which suggested that food was okay. Likewise, he said excellent about food, which suggested that food was actually good. What was his principle? His principle was not to hurt anybody, never hurt anybody. Come to the point. Here is the question. What was the opposite? Narayana Murthy's opinion about how he worked and how other people worked. Let me explain. If you ask him about IIT entrance test, he would answer okay, which means actually he had done his work in an excellent manner, but he said in a humble way or normal way, that is okay. Now comes to others' work. Food was prepared by someone. If food was bad, he would answer good, which means though the others did their work in a normal way, he appreciated or praised them in a great way. Whereas he did in a great way, he said in a normal way. Here, two opinions by him about his efforts and about others' efforts were opposite. Let's move to the next paragraph. The IIT entrance results came. He had passed with a high rank. What a delight for any student! He was thrilled. He went to his father, who was reading newspaper. The IIT entrance results announced, and he had passed with a high rank. What a happiness for him! What do you mean delight? Which means a feeling of great pleasure. He was thrilled, which means very excited and pleased. He went home where his father was reading newspaper. He was ready to announce his result that he had passed with a high rank. Let's see the conversation. Anna, I have passed the exam. Well done, my boy. I want to join IIT. So he talked with his father. What's that? He happily told his father that he had passed IIT entrance exam. Here we should observe his modesty. What's that? In spite of getting high rank, he told his father he had passed. How humble he is really. Well done, my boy. Father appreciated. And father was very happy to praise or congratulated his son. Now Narayana Murthy revealed his dream of studying at IIT to his father. What is that? I want to join IIT means his wish was to join IIT. Let's see the paragraph. His father stopped reading newspaper. He lifted his head, looked at the boy and said with a heavy voice, "My son, you are a bright boy. You know our financial position. I have 5 daughters to be married off and 3 sons to educate. I am a salaried person. I can't afford your expenses at the IIT. You can stay in Mysore and study as much as you want." Let's see the meaning. As soon as his father heard his son's desire to join IIT, he began to feel very sad. With a heavy voice, he spoke. He stopped reading the paper and looked at the boy and began to speak his bright son with a heavy or sad voice. Father described his poor financial status, financial position, that he had 5 daughters to be married off and 3 sons to educate. And also, he continued words that he was a salaried person. So, he couldn't afford his expenses at IIT. What is meaning of afford? Look at the word and remember carefully. The usage of the word is usually used with can, could or be able to, especially in negative sentences or questions. See the second meaning. If you say that you can't afford to do something, you mean that you should not do it because it will cause problems for you if you do. And also, father advised his son. So what was a piece of advice? That was, son should stay in Mysore and study as much as he wanted. Let's see the next paragraph. Indeed, it was a difficult situation for any father to say no to his bright son. But circumstances were like that. It was common then for the man to be a single yearning member with a large family dependent on him. Let's see the meaning. Actually, the conditions were tough, and father felt very difficult to tell his son not to study at IIT, but his father poor financial status demanded to take the decision. What was common on those days? It was common. What was common? On those days, a large family depended on single earning member was common. Let's move to the next paragraph. His father was sad that he had to tell the bitter truth to his son, but it could not be helped. The boy had to understand reality. Though his father was sad, he had to tell the bitter truth to his son. What was the bitter truth? Father's poor financial position was unable to study his son at IIT was the bitter truth, and anyhow it could not be helped, and the boy had to understand the reality. What is reality here? Father's financial status. The teenager was disappointed. It seemed his dreams had burned to ashes. He was so near to fulfilling his fondest hope, at so far his heart sank in sorrow. Oh. The teenager, 16 years old boy, was very sad and disappointed. What do you mean disappointed? Which means upset because you hoped for has not happened. His dreams to become an IIT engineer had burned to ashes. He almost very close to fulfilling his fondest hope by getting a high rank. His heart really sank in sorrow of ocean. He did not reply. He never shared his unhappiness or helplessness with anybody. He was an introvert by nature. His heart was bleeding, but he did not get angry with anybody. What do you mean? The boy did not reply to his father, as he was an introvert. What do you mean an introvert? Which means a person who never shares his unhappiness or helplessness with anyone. His heart was bleeding, which means he was in grief, but he did not get angry with anybody. See the next paragraph. The day came, his classmates were leaving for Madras, now Chennai. They were taking a train from Mysore to Madras. They have shared good years in school and college together. He went to the station to say goodbye and good luck to them for their future life. Let's see the meaning. The day came. Which day? The day was his classmates leaving Mysore for Madras, now Chennai. His friends and he shared good years in school and college together. He went to the station to say goodbye and good luck to his friends for their bright future. Next lines. At the station, his friends were already there. They were excited and talking loudly. The noise was like the chirping of birds. They were all excited and discussing their new hostels and new courses, etc. He was not part of it, so he stood there silently. One of them noticed and said, "You should have made it." A word's explanation. Before his arrival, his friends were already there at the station. How were his friends? They were excited, had a feeling of great happiness and talking loudly. That was like the chirping of birds. What do you mean, chirping of birds? Chirping means talking or speaking in a lively and cheerful way. And also discussions went about new hostels and new courses, etc. The boy stood there silently as he was not part of it. One of his friends noticed and wished that the boy should have gone along with them. He did not reply, he only wished all of them They waved at him as the train slowly left the platform. It was the June of 1962 in Mysore city. Monsoon had set in and it was getting dark. It had started to drizzle at he stood there motionless. He could no longer see the train or the waving hands. It was June of 1962 in Mysore city. It was getting dark and monsoon had set in, which means to begin and seem likely to continue, and it had started to drizzle. What do you mean drizzle? Drizzle means raining lightly, and even after he stood there on the platform without moving, means motionless. Let's take next lines. He said to himself without anger or jealousy, all the students from the IITs study well and do big things in life, but it is not the institution. Ultimately, it is you and you alone who can change your life by hard work. What do you mean? We know that. What we know? As he was an introvert, he talked to himself without anger or jealousy. All the students from IIT study well and do big things in life, but it is not the institution. What do you mean institution? See the fifth meaning. The important thing or the main thing which makes you become well known. Okay. Here, according to his thoughts, if you have the chance to study at IIT, you can. If not, you never get disappointed because it is not one and only option to go up in life. You remember clearly? This is a part of life. Now you are facing adverse conditions and get disappointed. Then, how can you overcome and change your life? A very simple solution, that is, ultimately it is you and you alone who can change your life by hard work. To change your life is not possible without hard work. It is possible with only hard work. Next two lines. Probably he was not aware that he was following the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. Your best friend is yourself and your worst enemy is yourself. Later he worked hard and focused on one thing and never bothered about his personal life or comforts. He shared his wealth with others. He never used the help of any caste, community, or political connections to go up in life. Let's see the meaning. At that moment, might be he was not aware of the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, but he actually was following. What is philosophy of Bhagavad Gita? Your best friend is yourself and your worst enemy is yourself. The two characteristics are in you. So, you only have to decide with whom are you traveling in your life. With a friend or with an enemy. If you travel with your friend, you will get success in your life. And if you travel with your enemy, you will get destruction in your life. When he understood the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, he was smart to do work very hard and focused one thing that he had targeted and never bothering about his personal life or comforts. He shared his wealth with others as a philanthropist. He had an uncompromising quality that he never used the help of any caste, community or political connections to go up in life. Let's see the next lines. A son of a school teacher showed other Indians it was possible to earn wealth legally and ethically. He built a team of people who were equally good. Yes, a son of a school teacher showed other Indians it was possible to earn wealth legally and ethically. What do you mean legally and ethically? Legally means in a way that is allowed by law, and ethically means in a moral way or acceptable way. So, he earned wealth within the law and within the moral values. He built a team of people who were equally good as the quality of fairness. The next lines. He became a pioneer of India's software industry and started the information technology wave. Today, he has become an icon of simplicity, uncompromising quality, and fairness. Apart from being a philanthropist, he really believes in the motto powered by intellectual and driven by values. Wow, what a paragraph! What a paragraph! It's a very important paragraph. Look at. He became a pioneer of India's software industry. What do you mean, pioneer? Which means one who of the first to study and develop of something. Here, he was one of the first who study and develop of India's software industry, and he started the IT information technology wave. Today, he has become an icon of simplicity, uncompromising quality, and fairness, which means the quality of treating people equally, and apart from being a philanthropist. What do you mean, philanthropist? One who devotes his service or wealth for the love of mankind. He really believes in the motto. What do you mean, motto? Which means it is a phrase that expresses the aims and beliefs. Try to define the meaning of the motto powered by intellect and driven by values. The motto says that probably whatever the work or an aim that he has set to achieve using his intellectual power in a smart way and hard work. And he has been leading the life with ethical values, which means values alone lead his life. And finally, who is he? He is none other than Nagavara Ramarao Narayana Murthy, the founder of Infosys, a leading IT company in the world. Nagavara Ramarao Narayana Murthy, who is he? Yes, the man who founded Infosys. What is Infosys? It is a leading IT company in the world. It is written by Sudha Murthy, his wife. Dear students, I hope you understand. Thank you very much for watching, and I request you all to subscribe to my channel GMR Academy and press bell button for more updates. Like the video and share the video link with your friends. Thank you all. Have a great day. God bless you all.